The topic of empathy is one of those topics that it's relevant today, probably more so than ever. But boy, it's always important and relevant, and it's always a muscle that we can continue to exercise and get stronger at and better at. So I'm really looking forward to our show. Thank you for coming on.
Brandon, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah. So maybe before we jump into our topic, for our listeners, and for myself too, share a little bit more about your journey. What got you so excited about this path, and what ultimately got you into the seat that you're sitting in now?
Sure. So personally, empathy is something that's been really important to me since I was a child. I think I've always been empathetic, highly empathetic as a youth. And I used it as a survival skill. Growing up in the Midwest, we moved into a new small town, and the kids decided that I was other and needed to, excise me. So I started getting called gay. This is back in 5th grade, so like 1980 in small town Indiana. And I got all the derogatory slurs and things that would go along with that. And I ended up using empathy over the years. I started using empathy as a survival tool, and listening to other people and understanding from my classmates, what was making them tick, and with the goal of, diminishing when a rumor would get started, it diminished the number of people that would pick up and spread the rumor, because if they knew me or felt that I was supporting them, or, I saw them as a person, they were going to be less likely to, spread the rumor, cause me harm, do things like that. So that was back in my youth. And then professionally, the kind of wake up bell was in 2010. There was a study that came out of the University of Michigan. They'd done a meta-analysis of college university student life surveys, 76 universities from 1979 through 2009. And they found that from 1979 till 2001, there was a 40% decline in people's ability to see the point of view of their classmates, to basically have cognitive empathy with them. 40%.
Wow.
And it didn't go down further, but it also didn't go up from 2001 to 2009 till the end of the study. And I thought, oh my God. So 10 years, at that point, it was 10 years previous. Now it's over 20 years ago. People had almost half the amount of empathy ability as previous generations. And so that person today in 2022 is going to be in their early 40s. They're going to be in their career. They're going to be maybe a manager or a leader. They're going to be a team member, certainly. They're going to be a neighbor, a parent, probably a spouse. They're a functioning member of society, and yet they have less empathy. That's going to be a problem. And you can see how that's played out now in the way that we're engaging with people. So that was the sort of spider bite moment of my adult life, where it was like, oh my gosh, we've got to do something about this. And I think I travel a lot for my job and my career, which is a market researcher and doing a lot of ethnographic research. So I was in an airport when I first heard that news, and, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And I looked around, and, there were people rushing to catch their flight, some others having a beer at the airport bar, and no one else was recognizing this. And I thought, oh, this is not good. We need to do something else. And so, because of the nature of the work that I do at Ignite 360, we help our clients connect and understand the points of view of their consumers or their customers or their clients, so that you can build better products and services or communications for them. And so empathy is part and parcel of our work. What we were finding, though, as we were getting hired to do these empathy building engagements, there were barriers that were getting in people's way. You can create the best interaction session opportunity to meet your consumer. But we were finding that if the clients were not able to dismantle their judgment, or they weren't actively listening, they weren't paying attention, they weren't present in the conversation, that they weren't able to integrate into their own understanding to make sense of why somebody would have a different behavior than them, why they might be willing to spend more money on a competitor's product than on their own or something. If they couldn't get beyond those things, they were never going to get to a place of empathy. And so that's what led us to understanding and looking at, hey, how do we, what are all these barriers? How do we help people overcome them? So started looking at what was happening with our clients, what was happening with ourselves as we were doing research, what the current sort of literature was saying about it. And that's where we identified the 5 steps to empathy, which is about what you practice in the moment, and how you can get to a place of empathy in any interaction, whether it's at work, whether it's in your personal life, with a colleague, with a client, with a neighbor. These are the things you need to be mindful of. And so we started training and coaching people on that as well.